So I'm doing something a bit different this time. Most of my videos are usually super scripted where I can edit out any mistakes and fluffs, and that's pretty much what I'm going to stick to. But occasionally I'm going to do some unscripted stuff so I can see how I just do on the fly. So it's been long enough, so I thought I'd finally do a ranking of every classic Thomas character. All the ones I could think of anyway. As far as I know, this is everyone, from series 1 to 5. Few ground rules: this is strictly engines and vehicles. No human characters or animals, because we'd be here all day. And it's worth remembering as well that I don't actively hate most of these characters. This is simply my least favourite to my favourite. And I'm going in no particular order. I pretty much just dumped everyone here from Google Images. I couldn't really find any of those online tier lists that most people tend to use, so I just kind of dumped everyone into GIMP, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick characters at random, talk about what I like or dislike about them, and then see where they go on the ranking. So please don't be mad if a character that you particularly like that you would have ranked higher is quite low on my list. This is my list, this is how I feel. Right, who should we pick first? Who's going first? So as you can see, I pretty much just dumped everyone here at random. Thumbnails from Google. Yeah, it's very haphazard. You know what? Let's pick Trevor first. Trevor, the traction engine. Always liked his design. I like how he's actually got a hairstyle included in his faceplate, which isn't something you see on a lot of characters, honestly. I like him, and I like the episodes he's involved in. I like how he humbles Thomas with the use of a snowplow. So yeah, there he is. Let's put him smack dab in the middle. I'm probably going to have to make my canvas bigger just to fit everyone in a straight line going down, so this canvas is probably going to look a bit weird later on. So yeah, so there's Terrence. Right, let's have Peter Sam next. He's had a lot done to him throughout the series. He's had tricks played on him by Henry. He broke his funnel. Plenty of stuff. I think he's fine. I like him more than Terrence. I mean Terrence. So I'll put him there. Not my favourite narrow gauge engine, but you know, I like him. I like all the narrow gauge engines, really. Alright, who's next? Let's have Bulstrode. The only boat on here. The episode he appeared in, Special Attraction, wasn't the greatest. If you watch my Series 4 ranking, you'll know that I find the episode a bit haphazard. I don't like the way it feels like two stories mashed into one. So he's interesting, I suppose, just for the fact that he's the only boat character, which gives him some leeway, I suppose. But you know, you could say that Terrence is the only tractor, wherever he is. I always forget. So yeah, he's bottom for now. I don't like him that much. Donald and Douglas. Now, when it comes to Donald and Douglas and Bill and Ben, I kind of went back and forth on having them be their own characters, and there's more of a case of Donald and Douglas for being each their own individual characters, because they do have some episodes to shine, but come on, let's be honest. They're at their best when they're together, so I'm putting them together. And honestly, they are top for now. They had some great episodes, both together and individually. Escape is a really good one, and Donald's Duck I don't like very much, but they had nice scenery. And their little arc involving the Spiteful Brake Van was really good. It had some real tension to it. I mean, of course we know that they'd survive, but you know, back then, bit up in the air. Let's have one of the originals now. Let's have Percy. Percy, I think, throughout the series, he's had some really good episodes. Some really good accident scenes, actually. A lot of my favourite accident scenes actually involve Percy. For instance, Put Upon Percy, where the mine pretty much falls on him, or Percy Takes the Plunge, which is the best episode of series 2 in my opinion. So the little guy, he's had some stuff done to him. He's been through the ringer. So let's put him at the top. At the moment, he's the best original character, and I can already see this canvas is gonna have to start getting moved around pretty soon. Let's have Bertram. Bertram, that complete, really, really good character. He's got like a minute of screen time. I mean, he's very brave, apparently. So, I mean, are these guys brave? But here, are they that brave? I ended up going back to full-size screen just because of the fact that I wasn't sure how the more zoomed-in bit would look. Right. Anyway, back to the video. Yeah, Bertram, I don't know, he's pretty much just Duke with Smudge's face, and the episode he's in had good scenery. You know what, he's brave, so let's put him above Bulstrode, shall we? He's above Bulstrode. Henrietta. Doesn't have a face, doesn't even talk. Wait, does she talk though? I think Toby mentioned that she complained once, but we didn't actually hear her speak. So due to the fact that she doesn't really talk or doesn't have a face, she's going at the bottom. Sorry, Henrietta, you're just not that good. James. Honestly, James is probably my least favourite of the original cast. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like him. It's just his episodes I didn't find very interesting. A lot of it just seemed like stuff that had already happened with Thomas, but they were doing it with James again. And don't get me wrong, he had some good episodes. Like, I really liked Old Iron or Dirty Object. But, yeah, he wasn't... Definitely my least favourite of the originals. Let's put James around here, I'd say. I really should have organised this better, shouldn't I? But I've already started now, so, yeah. Diesel. The show's first main villain. He definitely made a good first impression, you know, with his whole little rivalry with Duck, and established Diesels in the show as not to be trusted. Although there are a few nice ones that we'll see later. He is an effective villain. Not 100% sure he needed to come back after his original appearance, but, you know, that's the writers. What are you gonna do? So let's put him... You know what? I think he's great. So let's put him there. Yeah. Because the way I've made this isn't the best, there's going to be a lot of times when I'm just moving things around to fit a new character. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut those out, just for time's sake. So if suddenly it jumps ahead and things look a bit more organised, then that's why. Let's have the Horrid Lorries. Let's go for another horrible character. They were interesting characters, I think. I like their design, and it was quite nice seeing them get into all the weird little accidents they got into after spending all that time talking crap about the engines. I think they're fine. There's not really a lot to say about them. It's definitely one of Series 5's not as memorable episodes, in my opinion. So for that, I'm gonna put them just above Bulstrode and Henrietta. Not as good as Bertram because they're not brave. I think Bertram being brave is probably going to carry him more than a lot of these other one-off characters, to be honest. The Spiteful Brake Van. Definitely one of the show's most memorable antagonists, purely for the fact that he gets ripped in half. Well, I say ripped in half, it's more like he gets crushed. And you can actually see his face being carried away. I find it funny how horrible he is. He's like just really, really mean to Donald and Douglas. Also the fact that next to Scruffy, he's the only really notable, standout, singular, troublesome truck, because the rest are kind of an entity. Let's put him above Bertram. He's not brave. Well, you could say he is brave because he took his death like a champ. Caroline. She's a car. And she's old. And she complains about things. What is that to say about her? She is quite bottom, to be honest. She isn't as entertainingly horrible as Bulstrode. She's just kind of there, and she's a car, so I'll put her down there. Let's have Bill and Ben. Once again, I'm putting them as the one character because they're best when they're just one person. I mean, one train, one character, whatever you want to call them. They have some good episodes. I really like Heroes in Series 3. It's one of the few episodes of Series 3 I actually really, really like because I don't like Series 3 very much. Wrong Road was pretty funny when they threatened Gordon with dumping him in the sea. I like them more than Terrence. Ari and Bert. Probably the show's best villain, in my opinion. They only appear in one episode, in the classic series anyway, and they have a really memorable appearance when they show up and basically threaten to kill Stepney. If you watch my video on Stepney Gets Lost, you'll hear me talk a lot more about them and why I think they're really good. So, based on their one and only memorable appearance, you know what? They left more of an impression on me than James did. So, let's put them above James. Harold, the only flying character, I believe. He had a really good episode where he raced Percy, and I really like the little rivalry that the two of them have going on. And I guess it's interesting, just him being a flying character. And he's a bit snobbish about the fact that he can fly and no one else can, and Railway's about to date, but he's not horrible about it. He's just like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm better, but you know, we all know that, so it's fine. You know, he doesn't go on about it. He's perfectly fine with it. And you know, he annoys Percy, but, you know, it's all in good fun. So I'm going to put Harold just below Bill and Ben, but above Trevor. I mean Terrence. I keep getting them mixed up. The names sound so similar, and they're both tractors. Speaking of Trevor, where are we going to put him? I'm not going to lie, I don't like Trevor. I always found his face creepy as a kid, and, you know, there's the whole he likes children thing, which, you know, obviously it's not meant to be creepy. It's harmless, but at the same time, our minds have been so poisoned that you can't help hearing that without thinking of stuff. So I'm going to put him between Caroline and Bulstrode. That seems fair. Sir Handel, the guy who just kind of disappears. I like him. You know, he's very pompous. He's kind of like a mini Gordon. I like his colour, and for some reason I remember him being one of my favourite turtles as a child. So yeah, he's pretty good. So I will put him right there between Harold and Bill and Ben. George the Steamroller I love him. He hates roads. Railways are no good, turn them up into roads. Wherever it is he says. He has a really fun rivalry with Sir Handel in that episode. And I find something really funny about his faceplate for some reason, especially his smile. His little smile cracks me up. So I'm going to put him, you know what, between them two. That seems like a good place. Derek, who never actually gets named in the series. He's a good example of a perfectly harmless character. You know, he kind of shows up, has his little storyline, and then you never see him again. He's a friendly Diesel, which is, you know, Diesels in the series are kind of half and half. Some of them are nice, some of them are horrible. And he's a nice one. He's just a bit unfortunate because he breaks down a lot. Doesn't really have much to him other than that, I think. So I can't really put him very high. So what I will do is above Bertram, but below the spiteful brake van. That seems fair. So how is this list looking now with my horrible canvas? Oh dear, that is... I might have to reorganize this a bit when it's finished. You know, let's have one of the originals again. Let's have Gordon. Gordon the Big Engine. Obviously one of the OGs, one of the classics. He's big and he's proud, and it is always funny seeing him get his comeuppance. When I was a kid, I used to find him terrifying, especially his angry face, where he's all red and his eyebrows are like furrowed. Like, something about that really terrified me as a child. And he's got some really good crashes in the show. So I'm going to put him just below Diesel. Smudger. I think he's interesting only due to the fact that he had a horrendous fate where he was locked up and used as a generator behind the shed. And I like the American accent that Michelangelos gives him. So let's put Smudger just above Derek. S.C. Ruffy, also known as Scruffy. Kind of like Smudger and the Spiteful Brake Van, where he's most notable for the fate that awaited him in the episode. He's horrible, and I like his design with his little toothy grin and the fact that he was reused again and put upon Percy. Was it the same engine? Was it the same truck? Who knows? He's kind of like a memorable antagonist, I suppose. And yeah, so let's have him... Let's put him right there, between Derek and Bertram. Thumper doesn't have a character. He's just there to make Boulder come alive. So, yeah, let's put him... I like his design. But yeah, that's it. Rheneas. Very brave. I like his design. Although, it's one of those things where people in the books pronounce him as Rheneas. And then in the show they call him Rheneas. Wherever pronunciation you prefer, I suppose. I don't like him as much as Skarloey. Like, honestly, because Skarloey is introduced much earlier and we spend more time with him, we mostly just see Rheneas at first in flashbacks and Skarloey talking about him. So I don't think he really has that much to do in the classic series. He has Gallant Old Engine, which is a really good episode, but other than that, he doesn't really do much, does he? Just, I know he does more in the books and in the CGI series or whatever, and in Hit Era, apparently. But in the classic series of 1 to 5, he doesn't really do much, does he, apart from Gallant Old Engine and running away and rescuing the boulder. So it pains me to do this, but he's gonna go quite low. Not as low as some of the others, but yeah, he's going down there. Sorry, Rheneas fans. Toad. I love the accent Michelangelos gives him. I find it hilarious. It's a really thick Liverpool accent, I think. And Busy Going Backwards was a really funny episode. So Toad is going to go right there. That seems like a good place for him. Bertie the bus. Our first road character in the show, I believe. He has a nice little rivalry with Thomas, and his race episodes are really enjoyable. I love the music that plays. And he's just a friendly bloke. So let's put him above Rheneas. Yeah, sorry Rheneas, you get bumped down again. Class 40. I mean, he's not evil, but he's not nice either. And he leaves behind oil. And he was there on Stepney's last day. And I'm drawing a blank on what I can say about Class 40. So, yeah, I might have lost there. Just put him down. You know what? I'll put him just below Trevor, I think. Henry, the OG Green. Again, like James. I mean, I like him more than James, don't get me wrong. And he has some really good episodes, you know, The Sad Story of Henry, The Flying Kipper, Haunted Henry. And he's not as horrible as the other. I mean, not horrible, I say, but you know, Gordon and James are kind of really mean sometimes. Henry's not always that mean. He's kind of like just an accomplice to them, where he probably wants to feel like he fits in. That and the fact that Henry and the Elephant wasn't adapted until Series 4. So I always thought his involvement in Trouble at the Shed didn't really fit very well, because nothing really that bad has happened to him. So why would he be on strike? So, I like him more than James. Put him there. Yeah, that seems fair. Oliver. Really, really good introductory episode in Escape. And then Oliver Owns Up is a nice follow-up. I like his design, and for some reason as a kid I thought him and Thomas had the same faceplates. I know they don't, but as a kid I always thought they swapped. Isn't used that much in the show, to be honest. But Oliver's Find is a really spooky and atmospheric episode that I like. And I like his partnership with Toad and the way he interacts with trucks. So I'm gonna put him in between Ari and Bert and James. Stepney. Oh, I love Stepney. I think Stepney's got a really interesting arc because he gets rescued from scrap. He has a few little adventures in his new home. He enjoys it. And then he nearly ends up getting scrapped again. And after that, we don't really see him. So, as like a nice little self-contained circle of a story, yeah, it's good. And I like Stepney. I like his design. I like his personality. I like the way Thomas kind of hates him. So, Stepney can actually go quite high. Yeah, just above Oliver and James, I think. So I'm going to put Stepney right here. For now, just below his tormentors. Probably feels a bit uncomfortable there, doesn't he? Boko. The first... Did Boko or Daisy come first? One of them. Anyway, he's a nice diesel. I like how he kind of keeps Bill and Ben in check. He's the only one who can control them, in a way. So, he doesn't have that many appearances. He's in the background of a few episodes, like just as background dressing as a diesel. But as a character within a role, he's not in it that much. So let's put him below George. Yeah, I really hope no one's getting mad at these rankings, by the way. This is just my own opinion. Even if a character has less appearances than another one, if their personality is really good and I find them funny or amusing or likable, then they're going to go higher. Which is probably why James and Rheneas are so low. That's her hand all the way down there. Daisy! Our first female engine. Yeah, she is. Her face terrifies me, and her theme sounds like a stripper music, which one of the show's makers actually called out. I'm pretty sure. Her little arc is amusing, I suppose. She can go below Boko, I think. They actually share faceplates as well, I think, but Daisy's has more makeup on it. Fun fact of the day. Toby, the tram engine. Honestly, one of my favourites. I love how, you know, he's kind of like old and wise, sort of, but he also loves playing... He doesn't like playing tricks, but he doesn't really take crap from anyone, and he's happy to clap back at people. So he's going to go quite high, actually. You know what? So far, Toby is my favourite. I love his personality, I like his episodes, he has some really good episodes. I like his little history thing of his line closed down and he was the only survivor, and then he gets moved to Fat Controllers Railway. So yeah, Toby's great. Duncan. Duncan is my favourite character. I love his design, I love the accent Michelangelos gives him. He's in my favourite episode, Duncan Gets Spooked. I love how horrible he is to people, he just doesn't care. And he's just a really fun engine to watch. So you know what, Duncan is my absolute favourite. Bulgy, he's entertaining to watch. He's like, imagine Bertie on steroids and horrible. his accident was pretty funny. And his fate's even funnier as well. He gets turned into a chicken coop. So, Bulgy, I mean, he's not one of my favourites. So I'll put him just below the Spiteful Brakeman. This list looks like a mess, I know. It'll make sense at the end, I promise. Rusty! Wise old Rusty. I like his design. I like the fact that he's not only a diesel, but he's a narrow gauge diesel. You know, he's very wise and, you know, he's good at diffusing situations. But, you know, he's not perfect. And there's that one time he nearly abandoned Duncan because out of spite. Then he had to be reminded that passengers are more important. So I liked him. He's not perfect. I mean, I like him a lot. So, you know what? I'll put him there. Between Percy and Diesel. Duke, wise old Duke, fan favourite. His story is awesome. You know how he was like the wise old one, and then when the railway closed down, he was left behind in a shed for donkey's years. We don't really see him when he comes back, and I honestly think Sleeping Beauty should have been left for later on in the series, so his absence is more felt, and you're like, ooh, you know, when are they going to find Duke? You know, but having it be straight after Grandpuff was a bit weird in my opinion. But Duke himself, you know, he's fine. He's nice and old and wise. And the fact that he doesn't tolerate any crap from the younger ones. I like, you know, impudent scallywags, or wherever he says. So, he's going to go just down here, beneath Gordon. Scarlowy! I feel like I have a special kinship with him because, from what I know of the CGI series, he has a Welsh accent, and as if you can tell, but I'm also Welsh. So, you know, we're brothers. In a spiritual, cultural sense. And I like him. He's like little, but he means well, and he can still pull his weight. And I feel really sorry for him sometimes. He is going to go... You know what? He can go above Duke. Duck. I think Duck has a really cool shape, for starters. Potentially has my favourite theme of the classic engines. You know... Lovely theme, I love it. I like his little arc, how, you know, he shows up and he thinks he knows it all, and then Diesel shows up and to cause problems and everything just gets messed up. And he has potentially the best crash and runaway sequence of the classics in a close shave. And yeah, I think it's great. So I'm going to put Duck in 4th. So far, we've got 3 characters left. Mavis. The second female character of... No, because Annie and Clarabelle exist. I forgot. So does Henrietta, the only female Diesel of the classics. I like her. She's feisty, and the pair of her introductory episodes are really good. And I like the way her horn sounds, and she has a really interesting design. So I'm gonna put her... You know what? I like her just a bit more than Oliver. 2 characters left. I'll do Edward first. Edward's a great character. Obviously, he's old and wise and he's worn out. You know, he's considerably aged compared to the other ones. And he's always always seems like he's in danger of failing or, you know, even getting retired or scrapped. But, you know, he always pulls through in the end. And he has some really good episodes. As I've said in a previous video, I think Edward's Exploit is a good story. But it was held back a bit by the production, not really being able to convey the severity of the situation he was in that much. And, you know, he has some really good messages about working hard when others aren't and carrying your own weight and, you know, really pushing to help others. So, Edward, I think, you know what, at this point, I'm not going to bother rearranging this much more. It's pretty much full already. So, Edward is going to go there, right in between Rusty and Duck. I wanted to leave Thomas till last, because he's the main character and I thought it would be a good way to end this. It's like, he's the main character, so you'd expect him to be the best and most important, but as the show goes on, especially in the episodes after Series 1, I think, the episodes centered around him are never really among my favourites. And don't get me wrong, I like Thomas as a character. You know, he's cheeky, you know, he likes causing a bit of mischief sometimes, but he still means well. And I think he bounces well off the other characters, especially when he's annoying them. But I just think I like quite a few other characters more than him. But I don't want to put him really low just because, you know, he doesn't do anything really wrong. So, for the last placement in this ranking, I am going to put Thomas just above Peter, Sam, and the Duke. I'm not moving this round anymore. I've mangled this list enough. So, going from least favourite to favourite, remember, this is my own list. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. In last place, we have Thumper, Henrietta, Caroline, Class 40, Trevor, Bulstrode, Horrid Laurie, Bertram, Scruffy, Derek, Smudger, Bulgy, Spiteful Breakfan, Terence, Harold, Rheneas, Bertie, Daisy, Boko, George, Sir Handel, Toad, Bill and Ben, James, Oliver, Mavis, Stepney, Ari and Bert, Henry, Peter, Sam, Thomas, Duke, Rheneas, Gordon, Donald and Douglas, Diesel, Rusty, Edward, Duck, Percy, Toby, and in first place, Duncan. And literally while making this, I remembered that Cranky existed, and I'm a bit lazy to go and get a picture of him, so what I'll do just for this video is I'm gonna make a little Cranky just to put in the list. So enjoy my artistic skills here for a sec. I usually draw with a tablet, but you know, just for the sake of this, I'm going to make him look really, really, really accurate and lifelike. It's like looking at a picture of him. Drawing with the mouse is hard. There you go. There's Cranky. And Cranky, I like Cranky a bit more than Toad, a bit less than Bill and Ben. So yeah, that is the entire ranking of every character that I can think of, as far as I'm aware. There was probably a better way to do this, honestly, but you know, what are you going to do? This was completely unscripted, and I probably flubbed a lot, so I'm going to edit bits out of this. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed. Let me know your rankings in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know what you want to see next. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.